All right, we are on record now.
I'm coming.
You know, we were doing the election, so I said I don't want the election to be on record.
Yeah, I get you. I get that.
Yeah, we can see your screen now.
Okay, so yes. So today's class, first of all, good evening and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Precious Chibuike Okewu, and I'll be taking everyone on the second class of week two, right, which is telling your story with purpose, right? Crafting a winning statement of purpose or personal statement. So pretty much everybody here is applying to apply for graduate school, scholarships, and the rest. And today's class will be tailored towards making everybody write with purpose, right? And how do you basically write statement of purpose or personal statements that'll be able to wow the admissions officers or committee, right? So let's get started. And this is me. So Precious Chibuike Okebu. I'm the founder and executive director of Dream to Impact. I am a consultant at Hitsibonum Limited, and I have a bachelor's of science in economics from Lagos State University. And I'm a lover of art, fashion, and conversations on socioeconomic and cultural issues. And if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, here is my LinkedIn handle. Just click on the link and follow me. I'll follow back. Yes. And yeah, before we begin this class, as always, I like when people set intentions, right? So take a moment to set down intentions, 2 minutes, right? So set your intentions. What do you hope to achieve from this session? It could be one intention, it could be two intentions, right? And I'm going to call people in class to read out their intentions for us. Yes. So 2 minutes, take 2 minutes to write your intentions down. Going to the stage, Ibrahim Said. Ibrahim, please can you unmute your mic and uh, tell us what intentions you have for today's session.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ibrahim Said
Good
of
afternoon.
Brain. Thank you.
Mhm.
So my intention for this afternoon presentation is for me to be able to write a personalized statement of purpose essay for graduate school application.
Mhm.
I've been writing, so I want to be able to write a personalized and a winning essay to win in graduate school application. That is my
Mhm.
intention.
Really lovely. So that's 1 point for you. I like giving points out, especially when the class is engaging on people that are very, very active in session. So if you like to speak anytime I request to speak, you can either raise your hand or I'll just call anybody at random. Yes, so who else? Chidima, please can you unmute your mic? And it's also good if you leave your videos on, because you know this class is recorded, right? So Chidima, and after Chidima goes, then Ineka will go. Chidima, please unmute your mic and tell us what are your intentions for today.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. Okay, my main intention is I have a lot of personal experiences, but I don't just know
Mm-hmm.
how to tailor it down to a winning statement of purpose. So I'm actually
Yeah.
interested in this particular topic, and I believe
Mm-hmm.
by the end of this training, I'll be able to know how to craft out a winning statement using my personalized experiences.
Okay, that's lovely. So 1 point for you too. So you want to basically you have a lot of experience, but you're just stuck, or you want to know how to be able to tailor those experiences. Because a lot of people, and that's the thing with people that have too many experience. Obviously, your whole experience cannot fit into like limited words, right? So you have to be able to know how to choose the most relevant experience and also how to tailor those experiences to fit the whatever school you're applying to based on their values too. Yes, so that's lot you want to Blessing Neka, you requested to speak. Yes,
Yes, sir.
mute your
Good
mic.
afternoon, sir.
Good
So,
afternoon.
I have three intentions. I feel like at the end of this session, or I know that at the end of this session, I should clearly understand the purpose of a personal statement. I should know what a
Mm-hmm.
personal is and how it affects my grad school preparation process. And thirdly, I would love to learn how to write an excellent personal statement, one that is captivating, and be able to articulate my experiences as per what I'm applying for. So that's it. That's it, basically.
Lovely. So you want to know how to articulate your experiences. You want to know how to write a captivating statement of purpose. Lovely. So that's those things we cover. So 1 point. So now would start, right? So obviously learning objectives for this session. You know
So
how
my
to
point,
differentiate.
I think my point,
Yeah, I
my
give you 1 point already. You have 1 point there, lesson. Yes. So differentiate essays. You'll be able to master the exact distinctions between personal statement, and statement of purpose and motivational. But in this class, we just cover personal statements or statement of purpose and personal statements, right? And because when sometimes the admissions officers will tell you personal statements, sometimes they tell you statement of purpose. So you have to know when what to write and when what to use when you are being requested of either of the two. You understand? And the second one is you will learn how to build narrative. So you will have to connect your research background, if you have any, your leadership profiles, your career objectives into highly structured essays. And finally, you'll be able to produce first drafts, right? Effective first drafts, you develop, validate, and polish a competitive first drafts that is tailored to your target universities, right? So we'll begin difference between a personal statement and a statement of purpose, or as it's called, the SOP. So the SOP has an academic focus, right? So it tells you, okay, the what, it tells the admissions officers, or the admissions officers are asking for the what and the where. You understand? So it's a structured objective map of your future research plans and credentials, and usually explains your academic background, your research interests, and precisely how this your background now, how does it target, or how is it specific to whatever program you're applying to and your goals. Now, the personal statement is usually like a human story, right? So it's who are you and why are you applying, right? So it's a personal narrative style essay that shows your growth path, motivations, and resilience. It usually explains how you became passionate about your particular field and highlights your values and life perspectives. So putting it into perspective, your SOP says, what are you going to do? What is your purpose? Do you understand? And where do you want to be? Do you get? And using your background, you're not going to tie your background, but focusing on the academic bit of your background. Yes, you can do a bit of personal story, but the main focus for an SOP should be your the academic background and research background you have, connecting it to the institution and also what you want to achieve in future. However, the personal statement, you have more liberty, right? To go, it could be, okay, maybe one day you were licking ice cream as a child, and that ice cream made you want to become a chef. Do you get those very personal nuanced things are what the admissions officers are looking for in a personal statement. Do you understand? And they want to see, okay, why you're applying to the school too, right? But how does that your personal story tie into this particular course you want to do? So that's the major difference between a personal statement and a statement of purpose, right? So statement of purpose, the primary lens of a statement of purpose is that it is future focused, right? So focuses on research plans and qualifications, while a personal statement is usually past, right? So what have you done before, right? And your present, right? So it's your core identity and your motivations for applying to a particular course or school. And the writing style of a personal statement is usually reflective, right? So you're reflecting, you're kind of like looking at your past, right, and narrating what you've accomplished, right? You understand? It's usually story driven too, but a statement of purpose is objective, formal, and highly academic. Again, you can impute a bit of your personality, right, in your statement of purpose, but it should not overshadow the academic and the formal bits. Do you understand? And usually what counts for personal statement is 500 to 800 words, usually flexible. And for statement of purpose, usually longer. Some people, it usually is between 800 to 1,200. You see some schools requiring the statement of purpose to be 1,500 words. So another comparison is when you are writing your statement of purpose, you have to ask yourself, what do you intend to achieve? Right. So this statement of purpose, this essay I'm writing, what do I intend to achieve in this particular school or studying this particular course? And if you're writing a personal statement, you ask yourself, who are you and why do you care? Do you understand? And so just a caveat, right? Why these are the usual word count guideline, right? But there are some schools who state their particular guideline, right? Particular word count, right? You want to follow whatever the school states in terms of required word counts. Yes. So inside the admission chamber, right? So this part will help you understand the exact qualities, patterns, and narrative structures that admission committees review to select candidates. So what are the three pillars of acceptance, which means what are the three things that basically differentiate an accepted candidate from a rejected or waitlisted candidate? The first one is competence. No matter how we like to deny, this is actually a very big, very important pillar. Competence. If the school asks for first class, do you have first class? If the school asks for a particular publication, or if you have, especially if you're applying for research or PhD, do you have a certain degree of publication? Do you have research experience? You get what are the academic? There are some schools that even include in their website the kind of courses they want you to have taken. Do you understand? And sometimes if you don't have the degree, if you don't have those particular courses, you're just going to be wasting your time. No matter how good your story is, they want to see that you have those competence. You're technically skilled in whatever they want, you get. And sometimes you might be technically skilled in these things, but you don't know how to write it on paper, you get. So you also have to include those particular competencies that you have on paper and include it properly, you get. So are you intellectually prepared? Can you withstand the academic rigor of graduate level coursework and publications, the ones that require that? Then second one is institutional fit. Why this school, right? You have to show that you've done extensive research on whatever the school has to offer. So it could be their faculty, it could be their course modules, it could be certain institutional things that the school has. Is it the school culture? Does the school have like say they have like a social, and if you're interested in social entrepreneurship, do they have the social entrepreneurship lab or case study competition for people that are going for business, things like that are specific to the school? Do you understand? And these things can be found in the school's portal, school's website. You can also follow the school on their social media pages, listen, talk to students that are currently in the school, talk to alumni that have been through these schools, right? Do you understand? Because even top schools, they have good research and good research lab or good faculty, but there are still very specific things that differentiate these schools, and you cannot know this alone by going to the website. Sometimes they include those things, right? But if you speak to people that have been through those experiences, you'll be able to get an experience of what this school has to offer that is different from another school. You want to make sure your essay is tailored specifically to include institutional fit, where if, say, you're applying to Harvard University, the same essay you're using to apply to Harvard University if somebody that is, let's say, the admissions officers of Stanford University, for example, if they read it, they will know, okay, this doesn't fit Stanford University, this fits Harvard University. You get what I'm trying to say? It has to be very, very fitted or specific to the particular school you're applying to, and you can do this by you either indicate faculty, whether indicate specific courses. Don't just say I want to study economics, right? But look at the school's portal, the MSc in economics course. What are the specific? It's even better if you don't just do the core coursework, because most of the time core coursework is for everybody that is going through that course will do the core coursework. But if you can go deeper and say, okay, what are the specific courses, the courses that you take, do you understand? That is not general. Those are the courses that you want to now say, okay, you want to include because it shows for their interest in that particular school. You can also include faculty name. Is there any faculty, any lecturer, any professor in the school that you like their research, right? Include it in the essay too. And finally, contribution, because no matter what, because everything is mutualistic. The school wants to know that if they accept you, what would you bring to the table? You don't just want to accept somebody that will take from them, but what knowledge are you going to bring? And let's be honest, let's be frank, these schools are not investing millions of dollars on you for you to come and become a nobody. They know that there are potential people that if they invest in them, they know that those people will be able to either contribute to the school while they are in the school and also achieve great success and be able to contribute to the school while they've. Why do you think most of these schools they have like millions of dollars in donations? Because of their proper and their successful alumni, right? So that's what you have to state your contribution. Your contribution, what do you bring to the table? Is there any club that you want to found in the school? Is there how are you going to contribute to the diversity of your classmates? Are you the first Black person in the class? What if you're the first Black person in the class, and so what? What knowledge do you bring in your experience that will be able to shape the school curriculum, or rather shape the student body? Do you understand? So what are the structural blueprints? This is the 5-paragraph blueprint for
No, Precious, Precious, are you still there? Can someone hear? Is it only me that this is happening to?
No, sir, we can hear you, but we can't hear him.
I
I
think
think
it's his network.
yeah, his network knocked him out. That's part of the things we experience in some of these things. So he will be back soon. So while we are waiting for him to be back, um, let me even stop this.
where we stop. We have the 5 SOP blueprints, right? So these are the 5. Usually they say your SOP has to be. First of all, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Has to be in 5 paragraphs at least, right? So these are the 5-paragraph blueprints that your SOP has to follow. So the first one is the hook. The hook is usually the introduction, right? That introduction that you use to capture your audience. Do you get? So you have to introduce your specific field, introduce your target field, and your clear research intent in this part. Do you understand? Don't be boring, because it's usually part that tells the research the academic committee or the person that is reading your essay if they should continue reading. Do you get? The second part is your past academic experience. So in the second paragraph, you want to discuss what are your major, what did you graduate with, which is your major, your projects. What projects did you do? Do you get? What research projects or academic projects do you do? What method did you use to achieve those projects? You understand? And what are your academic benchmarks? Now, the third one is your research focus, right? So you have to now show, okay, I have done X, Y, Z in my past academics. I have this particular this particular major. I've done this particular project, right? Now, this is my current research focus, right? And there's this thing that people usually do. They usually get stuck in the, oh, if I say do this, if I say I want to do this particular research now, does it mean that I'm not going to change? Fine, you can change later, right? But it's just to show the academic committee, right, that you have a particular interest, because you usually want to bank on somebody that has a clear, quote unquote, clear mindset rather than somebody that just wants to do anything. Do you understand? Obviously, when in the school, right, you can actually change your research focus, but while writing your essay, it is usually advisable that you have somewhat of a clear research focus and you elucidate it properly. So you have to ask, okay, what research questions you want to identify, what research questions you want to solve, or do you have currently? What tools do you hope to use to solve them, right? What methods do you want to use? Is there any technical experience that you've had from your past that you want to tie into your current research focus? Do you understand? Then the fourth paragraph, you want to talk about why this particular school. Here you want to list the professors that you want to work with, what specific labs, what specific courses, do you understand? And what specific part of that program would tie into your current research or your passion. This is where you synthesize everything and say, okay, because of this is my hook, right? And because of this hook, I have this particular academics, right? I've done this particular project, I have this particular technical skills, and currently this is my research focus, right? And because of this research focus I've identified XYZ in your school. Do you understand? So you see how there's a consistent link. Now, the fifth paragraph is you have to end with your future vision. So you've hooked them, you've talked about your academics, you've talked about your research focus, talked about the school, right? And so what? How does all this tie into your short-term career plans? And how does it tie into the long-term impact that you give? Do you understand? So now, the SOP, remember initially I had said that the SOP has to be strictly majorly academic, right? But you can impute some personal experiences in your SOP, right? Especially if those personal experiences are relevant to talk about your academic experience, right? So they're usually advisable to keep an 80-20 balance ratio. So majorly 80% has to be academic and 20% has to be personal. In your SOP, you don't want to be talking about, let's say you went to go and buy ice cream with your mother one time and you saw a man, let's say, choking, right? Let's say you have an interest in becoming a doctor and you went to buy ice cream with your mother and you saw a man choking, right? But you have to focus on, okay, so the man was choking and so what, right? How does that tie into, it has to be very relevant to your academics, right? Or your personal program. You don't just want to talking about story of the ice cream and how you saw somebody choking, but how did that particular moment inspire you to do what you want to do currently? Yes, so the next part is your personal statement. This one, the personal statement, remember I said that personal statement is usually, while it is usually a story about your personal life, but don't just tell it a cumbersome story, right? It has to have a particular theme, right? So what is that thread that ties your personal statement? Do you want to be the leader that inspired people from small places? Do you want to be that the doctor that the child that was inspired to be a doctor when his mother took him to buy ice cream and he saw a man choking? Do you understand? Do you want to be that economist that was inspired when you watch, say, Okonjo Iweala speaking on TV or you read her book? So there has to be a particular theme, and it's usually advisable to stick to that particular theme. Have maybe one theme, one core theme. Maybe you can have a secondary theme. But with the little words that you have to encapsulate your story, right? It's usually advisable to stick to one theme so you can talk about it and go deeper. But if you're talking about two themes, you find out that you don't have enough room to talk about these two things and talk about it well, right? So your core theme is that thread that holds your life details together. You want to pick a theme that represents your personal brand that I have stated. Is it the ice cream child doctor, the economist that was inspired by Kunjiwala or whatever. Do you understand? So every anecdote you use, every detail of an extracurricular, your community service, it has to tie into the and so what part of your statement, which is your thesis. This happened to me, and because of this, I was inspired to do this. You understand? So this is usually this is advisable that when you're writing your personal statement, there's something called a star approach, right? So this star approach would help you so that you'll be able to have a structural flow, a structural narrative approach to telling your stories. And so the star approach, the S in the star stands for the situation, the T stands for the task, the A stands for the actions, and the R stands for results, right? So the situation, because you experienced this, so you experienced this, right? And that means what exactly in your reflection did you experience, right? That inspired you. Your task, right? So, or it can be one task or multiple tasks, right? But remember, you have to be able to go into depth in each of those tasks. Do you understand? So it's better to be do little and do it well than do a lot and just be rambling all over the place. So your task or your tasks is what exactly did you do because you identified that particular situation. Now, your actions, right? So how did you do that task that you did? Right? Say I'm just experience from my past, right? So in school, I used to be the person that writes notes, right, in school because it helps me read better, right? So I noticed that when I was in school, right, a lot of students usually come to and meet me, okay, they struggle with identifying or understanding concepts in of each lesson, right? So that was the situation I identified, right? University students don't usually have resources, right? So I said, okay, now because of this, I'm going to be able to create my notes, right? Create notes and tailor those notes, not only just for me, but also make the notes very clear and legible that other people that will be able to understand those notes, right? So what did I do? I would my actions now, I would now write those notes, look at our curriculum, read textbooks, do more research and compile my notes, right? So those are the actions that I did, right? And now, because of doing those actions, I was now able to now create the first ever like resource, first of all, open bank in my school where people can access those notes for free, no matter your level. So you access those notes and be able to study and also improve. You understand? So now results. I noticed that after every exam, there are some people that will just meet me, okay, they'll text me or they'll meet me in person. Oh, and it was for free. They use my notes to study, right? And they were able to understand X, Y, Z in the exam or while they were reading, right? So now this is like using if I was ever to write my story on this, you can see I gave a very structured approach. What inspired me, right? What was the situation? What are the things I noticed, the conflicts I noticed, right? That now sparked my curiosity or my interest in doing certain things. And now the tasks, right? What did I particularly do, right? My actions, how did I do it? And my results, right? What did I achieve doing that? And usually when you're writing your results or when you're stating your results, it's usually good to be very, very specific. Oh, I was able to create notes for XYZ amount of people in the economics department. Because of my notes, XYZ people studied and passed their exams or they improved their GPA from XYZ. You get usually very specific so that you'll be able to now tailor what is the breadth of your accomplishment or your impact. And no matter how little it is still something. You get, don't come and exaggerate it. Be very specific with your achievements or your results. Do you understand? And there's usually a final approach, which is usually called R, reflection, right? But usually this one is not really that important, and it's not all stories that have reflections, right? So let's say after you've accomplished these results, you now learn like a learning experience. Oh, this is a better using this now. During my of creating those notes, I was able to learn that okay, it was very tasking on me because I create those notes manually. So maybe if there was a better approach to creating those notes, maybe using AI or maybe typing out the notes. Do you understand? Those are the reflections, right? So I accomplished this too, but if I did it this particular way, it could have been better. That shows the human side to your story or your experiences, and say, okay, and just the admission you're actually learning from this experience, and you're not just doing it for doing sake. Yeah, so these are the things you have to do for more impact or to be more impactful in your academic statement of purpose or your personal statements. You want to quantify your achievements. Yes, don't just say I manage projects. I taught the students. Okay, I taught 500 students. I taught 5 students. I taught 5 students for how many hours in a day did you teach them? How many hours in a week did you teach them? The more specific you are with your achievements, the better the better it is for the academic committee or the person reading your essays to understand. Second is be specific, right? You just want to talk about generic things, right? So you want to reference specific questions. If you're interested, and sorry for using economics a lot because I studied economics. That's why I have much capability to speak about, right? Say you're interested in development economics. What exactly in development economics are you interested in? Are you interested in how inflation affects education? By the way, that was my research paper, right? Are you interested in how gender, how the difference between the gender pay gap, right? Is that what you're interested in? You have to be very specific with what you're interested in. Don't just list very generic things, because a lot of people are interested in development economics. A lot of people are interested in quantitative methods, for example. But what are those specific things that when somebody reads your paper, they'll say, okay, nobody else can do this. Or before you find another person that can be able to have this particular essay, it's going to be very rare. You understand? And that's why it is advisable that when you're writing your essay, you give it to somebody else to read. And if they read your essay and they can see another person in it, another person writing that particular essay, then you've not done enough work. You've not done enough work to make this essay specific to you. Because remember, these admissions officers are picking specific people, right? Different and unique individuals that will be able to make a very cohesive and beautiful cohort or beautiful class where there is no 2 people in the same class. You understand? Because if you have 2 people or the same people, multiple people that are exactly alike, there's not going to be fresh or diverse perspectives in terms of thinking, right? So you have to be very specific in your personal story or your interests. Now, if you're ever going to talk about your failures, right? Say you took an academic gap, where there was a career pause, or let's say in terms of the story I told you about, like my note taking, there were some things that, okay, I was not able to accomplish. But you have to talk about it productively. Okay, don't just say, okay. Don't just, hello, can everybody hear me? Was that noise from me? Hello?
Bless you, Neka. Off your mic.
Okay. So you have to frame failures productively, right? What are the insights you gain from not being able to accomplish X, Y, Z?
Say last time, say I am a fan.
Can you guys off your mic?
I am a fan. Above all, because I have an excellent spirit. If you believe that, shout a bigger amen. I'm sharing this in unity. In praise to the Lord Jesus Christ.
So directly connect these experiences that you've had or whatever success your particular to your future. How does this connect to your particular career? You see, do you want to become do you want to found a company? Do you want to lead company? Please, Stanley, can you mute Blessing Nineka, whoever is distracting the class?
Somebody say, I have an excellent spirit.
I don't know what is wrong with some people. Very soon, we will start.
In Jesus' mighty name. God bless you.
Very soon, we will start making.
Okay, so
you can also even from your end, you can also mute the person because you are a co-host. But then going forward, I want to warn these people. I want to warn you people, please. If you continue this way, then if I remove you from the class, you may not be able to join with this same link again. And we're not changing this link until the end of this class. So please, don't be distracting our class.
Okay, so
Let's continue.
how does whatever your story tie into your particular career, right? You have to also include that. Yeah. So what are the top essay weaknesses, right? There's usually a weakness of you use the same copy the same essay for multiple schools. If you read the essay for University of Texas, the same essay that you used to apply for University of Oxford, University of London, it reads the same thing. There's no specific thing in that particular school that kind of ties those essays differently. Vague, unclear career vision. There's no clear career vision, right? You don't know what you want to do. Are you the person? Remember, these schools, right? While you can also change when you're in school or when you get the admission, right? But they usually they invest in, and that's how human nature is. We usually invest in people that have like they know what they want to do, because someone that knows what they want to do or what they want to accomplish is easier for them to accomplish it than someone that has no clear thoughts, right? And you must not have you must not have only one vision, right? Because usually people can have multiple visions. But if you dig deep, there's usually that vision that at that particular moment it is the most clear or it is the most pressing, right? And that is what you want to focus on. You get? And if you notice that, okay, let's say you're interested in a particular school, and that most pressing vision, why it is going to be easier to write and not necessarily fit that particular school. You can search your other relevant experiences, you can search your other visions and now see, okay, what particular vision do I have or career goals ties into this school's values, and you can make that one work. Do you get? Now, the fourth one is when you're using excessive cliches. Things like since childhood I was able to accomplish this. Whether since I was a child. A lot of people use that. Do you understand? Avoid using cliches and be very, very specific to get in your essays. Now we've come to the fun part of our sessions, right? So this is the energizer part. You get? I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting for this part in the session, right? So this energizer is called Guess the Movie or Series, right? And the movie buffs here, they will love it, I'm sure, right? So in this energizer, this part, each slide contains a picture representing a famous movie or series, right? You have 10 seconds to brainstorm, right? Input your answer in the chat box, and you get 2 points for each answer you get correctly. And the most quickest and the most correct answer in the chat box takes the points. Is that clear, or does anybody want me to repeat these instructions again? If it's clear, I need a thumbs up or a reaction. Okay, I can see Lolade. It's the only Lolade that it is clear for. Favor Wachiku. Who else is it clear for? Only Favor and Lolade are the only ones clear. And Dansu. Okay. No, now let's Anugoma. Okay, lovely. I see a lot of you are clear. Let's begin. The first one, this movie, you have 10 seconds. Remember, input your answer in your comment section. Asante, you help me facilitate. Check the comment section. You do have answers in the comment section. Stanley. Okay, so Stanley, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do we have answers in the comment section before I reveal the answer?
Wedding party.
Okay, so the
Wedding
answer is
party.
the wedding party. Who said the wedding party? The first person to say the wedding party.
Chidinma Chinwendu.
Chidinma Chikwendu.
Yes.
Right.
Chidinma
Okay, Chidinma
Chikwendu.
Chikwendu. She has 2 points. Next movie, 10 seconds.
This is what they watch film. Oh.
Okay, so is there any answer in the comment section?
They say Woman King.
Okay.
Somebody say he's behind the scene. John is behind the scene again.
Yeah,
Woman King.
Woman King. Who was first person to say Woman King?
Chidinma Chikwendu again. It's like this Chikwendu, Chidinma Chikwendu. It's like you sabi. Yeah, we watch film. Oh.
So the
Huh?
next movie.
Nobody is saying anything in this one. It's like they have not watched it.
Okay, so nobody has said anything.
Chidinma Chikwendu have said Slum, and she's the only person that answered Slum King.
So the answer is far
Someone said Back to School.
wrong. So the next movie.
Is that they don't watch foreign movies. They watch only Nollywood. Who is this? What is wrong with these guys? Let me start blocking
Okay.
this.
Nobody knows. So this is Pitch Perfect. Nobody gets the correct answer.
No, sir,
Okay.
I got it. I said Pitch Perfect.
Please confirm, Stanley.
Yeah, let me check. Okay. Somebody, Trevor Wachuku typed Pitch Perfect before. Okay, somebody typed Pitch. Okay, a lot of people typed Pitch Perfect before you.
Who was
And
the
it is
first
that
person?
Trend was the
the
first,
same
actually.
Chidinma Chikwendu.
I'm the first person that typed it, sir.
Chidinma is Chikwendu. It's
Who
like you watch
Chikwendu
Nigerian
is the
movie
first
too
person.
much.
Stanley, help me monitor the chat box. So
Yeah, Chikwendu is the first person.
the next person, the next movie. So Stanley, can you help me erase who is writing? Who wrote on the screen? Can you help me erase the? Because I don't want to click anything and now reveal the answer before time.
Who wrote something there? I don't know who is doing this.
So are there answers in the?
Coming to America. Some
Okay.
people
And
said
yes, it's
back
coming
time.
to America. Who is the first person?
Let me check. I don't know what is wrong with this. Someone said back to America, Mr. Bone. Coming to America, the first person that said coming to America is Theophilus.
Theophilus who?
Ahonsu. Please, can you pronounce your surname?
Theophilus
Theophilus.
Honsu.
I also Theophilus. I also.
Ahonsu.
Honsu, okay.
What country is that?
Nigeria.
What part of Nigeria?
Badagry, Lagos State.
Honsu.
Yeah.
So you are Yoruba?
Egun.
Egun.
So the
Yes.
next movie, 10 seconds.
Goma Okorie. Type.
Has anybody answered already?
Ratatouille.
Okay. Ratatouille. Who's the first person?
Ratatouille. Is Ugoma Okorie.
Ugoma Okorie has 2 points. Next movie.
Fast and Furious. Some people say
Okay,
Prison
so
Break.
time is up. First person. Who's the first person standing?
Chidinma Chikwendo. This Chidinma Chikwendo today watch film.
The next movie.
Yeah,
So,
after Money
who is the first person?
Money Heist.
Money Heist. Who is the first person?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth who?
Ololade Elizabeth Nathaniel.
Ololade, okay. 2 points. And the next movie. This is the second to the last, guys.
They don't watch South African movie.
Well, that is going to give them a clue.
Sorry, I have mistakenly given them a clue of the name of the movie, Sha. Time is up.
Time is up. Did anybody guess?
The gods are alive. Bushmen, the gifts are not blamed.
The gods
gods
must
must
be crazy.
His gods
Nobody
must be
got it
crazy.
right.
No, Theophilus got it.
Theophilus got it.
He's the first person to type it.
Okay. And the final movie.
Time is up.
Time is up. Who guessed? Who guessed first?
All of them are typing Squid Game, but the first person that typed it.
Yes, Squid Game. Who was the first person?
Wait, is Elizabeth? Wait. The gods must be great. No, wait. Squid Game. Wait.
Fastest fingers first. Who wins the
I think the first person
point?
that typed it is Chidinma Chikwendo.
Chidinma Chikwendo, lovely. So now it brings us to the end of. Sani, please help me erase this writing. So after the Energizer, we have Chidinma Chikwendo on 10 points, Theophilus Ahonsu on 4 points, Ugoma Okorie on 2 points, and Elizabeth Ololade on 2 points. Again, I'll just call anybody. Chidinma, do you want to unmute your mic and tell us how you were able to get 12 points or how the Energizer went?
Okay, good afternoon, sir. The funny thing is that watching movies is actually part of my hobby. So I've watched a lot of movies during my spare
We can
time.
see. Yeah.
I see.
So I actually found it funny.
Lovely. Does anybody else want to speak?
Interesting one. I really
Yes.
love this session.
Lovely. Does anybody else want to speak?
You watch
So
a
that
lot
they will
of
get
movies.
points. So who wants to speak? Should I just call? Elizabeth, your hand is up. How was the Energizer?
It was interesting, even though I forgot most of the titles. I don't record titles of movies, but I've seen them. That was my main problem. But it was nice. I really enjoyed it.
Lovely, lovely. I hope to hear that you enjoyed it. Let's
Hello.
go back to...
Yeah, this
Try to
Raphael.
see.
Okay, Raphael, you have something to say?
Yes,
How was
so
it?
yes, it was very interesting and then very nice. But then when I'm trying to type, then other participants will be quick to put a thing inside.
Yeah. Remember, it's fastest fingers first.
Yes.
Yes. Does anybody have any other thing to share?
Sorry.
I'm hearing it was very exciting, it was interesting, it was engaging. And that's what these energizers are for. They are to energize your brain, energize your mind, to make sure you're fully engrossed and immersed in whatever session and the class is. You get, because usually when there's a long session, our mind starts to zone out, and to bring it back, we need something very interesting to captivate the students and make them bring their mind back to the class. Yes, so moving on, we're almost done with the session. So these are interactive practices I will be doing on this in the class to kind of recollect what the class what are the topics or what objectives that has been achieved, to see whether the objectives have been achieved, right? So finding your hook, right? And this anybody on the session can speak, right? So this one's finding your hook, right? The committee will read thousands of essays that I'll start with. Since childhood, I've always loved science, right? So instead, open with a concrete, transformative moment, a technical problem you tackled, right? A paper you analyzed, or an ecosystem challenge that you witnessed. So it could be anything, but it has to be very, very specific. A lot of people were children, a lot of people love science, but what exactly in that science do you love? You can say something like, oh, when I was 5, my mom took me out to buy ice cream, right? Then while I was eating my ice cream, or while I was munching the ice cream, I saw a man choke, right? And at that point, I was inspired. You get things that are very, very specific, that it's not just, oh, you're a child, you love this, right? But what particular moment of your life inspired you, right? So I'll be calling anybody in the class, or calling a few names, to give us what they would think is a captivating hook to their own story. So Adeze, please unmute your mic. Also, preferably unmute, turn on your video and tell us what particular hook, 1 sentence, 2 sentence hook on that you think is good for your own particular story to introduce Adeze Ashibogu to the admissions committee. It doesn't have to be perfect. We are learning here, right? It's just brainstorming to see, okay, yes, this is my hook.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. Okay, so economics, we are made to understand that human wants are unlimited, but we have limited resources to actually meet those needs. So when I was a child, growing up in a community with no access to stable electricity, good roads, or even free education, I looked around me and realized that human resources are not actually limited as we think, but it's just that there are not enough policies, or policies are not really centered on the people themselves, making the resources seem limited. But we have enough, but policies are not actually focusing on the people, hence making the resources seem limited. And so this led to my desire to study development economics and policy, because I believe that if policies are made, they could actually be able to reflect the needs of the people, that could actually make the resources that are available to actually be sufficient for everyone in society. Hence my application to study Susan Samson. Thanks.
That was a very interesting book, but just feedback, right? If I was the one writing this essay, I will start with the economics wants and whatever, right? I'll start immediately with growing up as this. You grew up in this particular area, and you saw XYZ, right? That immediately brings the admissions officer, tells them, okay, this is your thesis, you've scared it immediately. But we start with economics wants, and that's a very cliche thing to start with. Or unless you can maybe talk about like a particular quote, economic quote, that ties into your particular development economics, right? And start with that. But starting with, say, the economic wants and needs, it's very cliche. So it's better. I think it's better that you just go direct to your growing up, understand? And that's a more specific hook you get. You've seen, okay, you've already introduced the admissions committee to your background. Do you understand? That was a very beautiful exercise. So I'm giving you for trying, I'll give you 1 point, Adeze. Yes. So who else wants to share their hook? So Favor Nwachukwu raised her hand. Favor, unmute your mic and speak. After you, who else is next? Yes. Favor
Okay.
and Favor speak, and after Favor, Ahonsu will speak. Yes, Favor, you can go on.
Okay. Okay. As the first child and only girl in a family of among siblings of 5, and the first to graduate in my nuclear and paternal family to earn a degree, I was opportuned to experience an issue that happened in the family house with the AEDC with the AEDC. So it happened. Am I supposed to highlight with the AEDC, which includes issues with communication, regarding communication, digital communications, issues with company policy, right? So with this issue, I know there's a way I can structure this. Hold up.
Yes, there's a better. This is for learning, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, right? With what you said, right? It feels very. You introduce. There's something you said about about Sinclair, because even a white person or a black person might read this and they're not sure what AAVC is, right? So if you can maybe write AAVC and say, okay, what does that stand for, an acronym or whatnot? Right? I like how you started with you were the only child, the only girl, right, in your family, right? The first child, first person to graduate, to go to university that I heard clearly, right? And the only girl. That's a very beautiful introduction. And doing that, and so what? You were this, right? But what happened? So you talked about some issue community, right? So be very, very when you're writing your hook, it's better to have a hook of one sentence line. As a first generation student, who is also an only girl in a family of this, right? I immediately became interested in XYZ because of, you get very one line. So when they read that particular, not one line, sorry, one sentence that's not too long, that's very precise and concise, that if they read it, they readily remember, okay, this is Favor. This is Favor Nwachukwu, the first generation girl child that is interested in this. That will just be like, and it's usually better, it's good to introduce your theme immediately. That hook is your theme immediately. They remember, okay, because usually I have some people that told me they've been admissions officers before. This is how it goes. Sometimes some admissions officers, they have favorite people, right? And to recollect that this is your story, they should be able to summarize your story in 5 sentences, 3 sentences. That's okay. This is Favor. This is what Favor is. This is who she is in 3 sentences. Because when they read that essay and let's say there's another person that has a similar essay to you or similar experience to you, and that usually they are trying to battle it out who should be the person that stays, right? There should be able, your person that is written for you should be able to pick out 3 sentences and be able to defend you with those 3 sentences. So your introduction doesn't have to be long. Your hook, which is your introduction, should be very specific and straight to the point. Is that clear? Right.
Yes, sir.
So summarize your thing immediately. You get, this is work in progress. Obviously, as you go, you think deeply about it, you'll be able to come up with a structured hook. You get, your hook has to be, when they read your hook, they have to be like, wow, I want Favor in this class. Do you understand? So the next person, Theophilus, your hand was raised, but I can't see it raised anymore. Oh, Chidima, your hand is raised now. Chidima,
I lowered the hand.
Okay, you're not interested anymore. So you wanted to speak.
No. When I saw you've recognized me, that was when I lowered the hand.
Okay. Yeah, do you want to go ahead and speak before Chidima speaks?
Yes, sir. growing up to
And Favor
notice a
has 1
pattern of
point.
illness
Yeah.
in my family.
Please, can you,
Growing
because I
up,
can't hear you properly. Okay. Go on,
can you hear me
Theophilus.
now?
I can hear you, yeah, but it's quite
Okay.
faint.
Growing up to
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Growing up to
Yes,
see the
better.
rate of the pattern of illness in my family, which I had no understanding of then, fueled my interest in medicine, particularly cardiology, which I first heard in my junior secondary school vocabulary development class. Since then, I have been curiously carving my path to become a cardiologist.
Okay, that's a beautiful story, but again, a lot of people use growing up, right? It's gonna be interesting if depends, but I mean, Adeze use growing up too, and I'm sure a lot of people, that is what people gravitate to. You say you wanted to become a cardiologist, right? If there's one, you can start with say you want to become a cardiologist, right? If there's one particular moment, right? It doesn't have to be growing up, right? That particular moment, was there an issue you noticed like somebody had a heart issue in your family, or did you watch a particular movie, right, that sparked that interest in you becoming a cardiologist, right? State that immediately. That will be better than growing up, right? It's better than you're very specific with that particular moment where you sat down, you were like, wow, yes, I want to become a cardiologist immediately. They read that and they'll be immediately captivated. Is that clear? Theophilus.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, that was beautiful. Yes, so we have Chidima. And Theophilus, you have 1 point for to encourage you to speak up more. Chidima, and that will be the last person. So Chidima, after Chidima, Umenadi, then Chidima Chikwendu will be the last person. Then we move on. Chidima Umenadi.
Okay. My hook would be, it was my first time attending the lecture series of Professor Kalu, where I witnessed his lecture on employability skills is not equal to employment. This lecture opened my mind to the fact that youths are not unemployed due to the lack of jobs, but due to not having employability skills. This drove my insights into researching on gender skills disparity among youths, and I was able to find that the lecture I received was contradicting what I found, because women and men were able to have skills, but I found that despite women having skills as per men, there were some restrictions in terms of gender disparities, power relations, which affect women's employment despite having skills. This has driven my interest into investigating how power relations, institutions, as well as system governance affect youth unemployment and cause disparities in employment between men and women. And this has motivated my application for development economics at the University of Sususu.
This is a very beautiful story, Chidima, but remember, this is a hook, and you want your hook to be very specific, right? I saw that part of you attending Professor Kalu's class. That was a very beautiful introduction. Okay, you attended Professor Kalu's class, right? We have to be more specific. Maybe after you've talked about you attending Professor Kalu's class, because usually these people are they are foreign people. They might not know, unless Professor Kalu is a very famous name. Do you get? So you might say, okay, you attended Professor Kalu's class. You might now go ahead and now give a specific, maybe research, like specific statistics that ties in, okay, what you learned from that professor, from Professor Kalu's class, right? You understand? So even if they don't recognize Professor Kalu's name, okay, they say, okay, you know, you attended this class, you're able to pinpoint this particular thesis from Professor Kalu's class. Now, this is a statistic that backs that Professor Kalu's class. Now, this is your hook. Then your body, you can now start talking about the stuff of gender. There was the gender part of it, and there was a youth employment part of it. That's when you can now go ahead and now break it down. But your hook has to be very straightforward. They read Chidima, they be like, okay, yeah, Chidima is that girl that is interested in youth employment, or solving youth employment, because she attended Professor Kalu's class. Professor Kalu's class inspired her. And she not only was even inspired by Professor Kalu's class, this is something that shows that this is a serious issue by stating this particular statistic. Do you understand? Do you get? So yeah, thank you for speaking up. That is 1 point. Lovely pieces. Then we have Chidima Chukwendu will be the last person to speak. Maybe in the next activity, Brian, you can speak. Chidima, please unmute your mic and speak.
Okay, to start, I'll say, as the first girl child in a family of 7, I witnessed firsthand how my mom, through her fruits business, sponsored and supported the family. While watching her, I found that there are a lot of challenges that come with fruit businesses, which sparked my interest in studying business management.
That was beautiful, okay, very specific too. You can say, okay, but then you're saying with your story, right? You said you are inspired by your mom's, you want to study business management because of your mom's food business, right? Thinking about it, then they'll be like, okay, you're the first girl child, right? How does that particular tie into you being the first girl child? Doesn't really tie into your mom's food business like that. You get sometimes when we are using, so we obviously want to appeal to emotions, but let's it be that what we are appealing to, the emotions that we are appealing to is very specific. Do you understand? To this particular course, you get a particular program you're applying to, or your who. Is that clear? Okay, you're inspired to study business management because now you can say, okay, because as the first girl child, it was maybe culturally, because of culture, you were following your mom to her shop every time, and you were now able to see, okay, the challenges she was facing in her food business, right? And that now inspired you to study business management, right? You see how I've tied in you being a girl child in that story. But you saying as the first girl child and there's no relation you get, it's better you leave it out, or you have to tie it into the story. You understand? The major story here is your mom's food business, and you've been inspired to study business management. You understand? Is that clear? That's 1 point. Yes. Now, so the next. So the next activity is the narrative makeover, right? So this first one, the before, right? So I had a BSc in economics, and I took several econometric courses, which I passed very well, right? To structure this further, it could be, okay, my undergraduate training in advanced econometrics enabled me to model local trade volatility, culminating in a senior thesis that analyzed import disruptions. This is very specific. So this person is saying, okay, he studied this stuff in this economics, and he learned advanced econometrics, and that advanced econometrics that they learned now made them be able to model local trade volatility now. And because of these learnings, they were now able to apply those learnings in their senior thesis where they analyze import disruption. So that's very specific. Do you understand? Not just, okay, I have a BSc in economics. Okay, I have a BSc in economics, and I studied and I took several econometric courses, and so what? Do you understand? It has to be very specific to what you want to do, and how what you've done before ties into what you want to do, right? So another activity is, okay, I'm a born leader, and I like helping people solve local resource problems. There are a lot of born leaders, and there are a lot of people that like helping people solve local resource problems. What is that local resource problem that you like solving? Is it tailored to education? Is it tailored to gender? Is it tailored to economic inequality? Be very specific with your with whatever issue you're solving. And quite frankly, it's better to avoid saying that you are a leader, or you have leadership skills, or you have these particulars. State exactly how you're a leader. Was there a club that you founded that where you led or drove, say 2 people or 3 people or even 500 people to accomplish a particular goal? That shows that you're a leader, rather than saying I am a leader, stating it out, right? So as the president of the university STEM club, right? I directed a peer mentoring initiative that increased engineering retention by XYZ 100% across our departments. You get this is more specific than saying, oh, I am a leader. You can look at this person now. You can know if he's the president of or the president of University STEM Club. Obviously, they led the STEM Club. You don't even want to be specific. They can even talk about how many people in the STEM Club that they led, how many people are the members there, right? And you can see, okay, these are the challenges that they help. These are the things that they help to accomplish. They directed the peer mentoring initiative that increased the engineering retention rates by 150% across the department. That is more specific than saying, oh, I like helping people do this. I'm a leader. You have to be very specific. Do you get? Yes, so wrap up. This brings us to the end of our activity. So questions and answers, guys. Let's have it. You can raise your hand. Yeah. Thank you, Chinima.
Yeah.
So you can you can raise your hand to speak. Okay, so Favor has the question. Favor, yes, go ahead. You can also put your questions in the chat box so Stanley can read it out. Yeah, thank you, Adizi. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I think I skipped the part where you talked about motivational letter. Yes. So you explained personal statement and SOP, but you didn't say anything about motivational letter. I think I've seen that
So the
somewhere.
motivational letter, because of time frame, it's not something that is usually they usually ask for, right? So I just spoke on the personal statement and the SOP because those ones are the important ones. You get the motivational letter is just like a statement of purpose in letter form, right? So it's just instead of writing it in essay form, right? Motivational letter, you're writing it in a letter form, a statement of purpose in letter form. So there's no much difference between the statement of purpose and the motivational letter. It's just the structural writing formats.
Now, in addition to that, statement of purpose is always having more of it's more like your research. You are writing a proposal. So that's why I always tell people to make their statement of purpose to have, like, let's say 6 paragraphs where you determine a problem, talk of your academic, talk of your professional skills, talk of your research interests, talk of where the research has aligned with somebody, and then talk of your career goals, and then your conclusion. So something like that makes it more of a statement of purpose. You are stating who you are. It's like a proposal. When you talk of motivational, that is where you talk more of your achievements and what actually motivated you to go for this, or why you do want to. And mostly motivational listening is always attributed to personal statements, because that is where you talk more of what actually spurred you to go for this. So that is in addition to what Precious has told you. Yes. The next person, I think, Ibrahim Said.
Only for that beautiful addition. So next person is Ololade Elizabeth. Ololade Elizabeth. After Ololade, Adeze goes next. Ololade, please unmute your mic, turn on your video, and speak if you can.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Precious. Thank you so much for that session. So I wanted to ask, where is the place of volunteering in
why is what?
Your SOP? Volunteering, like my volunteer roles, like my places are volunteered. Where does it stand in my SOP?
So
is it not necessary?
Usually it starts in your second paragraph, because that's the part where you talk about, okay, what you've done. right? So it's usually better to put it in your second or third paragraph, right? Okay, you did this particular research, this particular volunteer role, you understand? But usually, if you're applying to any research role, right, it has to be, okay, those volunteering skills that you accomplish, how is it tied to your particular research interest, right? Was there a particular skill that you learned from those volunteers? Don't just say, okay, let's say you're applying to let's say you want to do like microbiology, you want to work in a lab with a microbiologist, right? And you're talking about how you volunteered in a dance club. That is not related, right? Unless there was this particular, I don't know how you're going to tie that in, but usually better that you, let's say you led, right? And you're talking about a leadership essay, right? You can say, okay, maybe you led that dance club, but your volunteer roles usually has to be very specific, right? And tailored, right, to your particular passion or your particular research or whatever program you're applying to. Right? Don't just go and be stating any volunteer role because you have volunteer roles, right? Unless the essay specifically tells you to highlight your leadership experience and you want to now use that your volunteer roles as an experience. But usually if you're writing statement of purpose, if your volunteer role is not related, it's usually better to leave it out. You get, unless you can maybe you tie it in the hook or something, right? But it has to be very related to your story. Is that clear? And your program.
Yeah, in addition to that, you see, some of these things do not have yeah, in addition, can you hear me? Elizabeth.
Yes, sir.
Ololade.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I can.
Yeah, so in addition to this, these things may not have a particular direct rule that says it has to be this way. It all depends on what you are applying for. If you are applying for a PhD, you would know, you would understand that, you will see that what committee are actually looking for in a PhD. I have been a member of selection committee for a PhD program. So what we always look for, what they are looking for is your research skills and your research. So that is the major thing. Now, it means that when you establish a problem because your first paragraph is always a problem you have established that you want to now embark on in your research. Your second paragraph should be where you should not be talking. You should focus more on your research interests, how it has aligned with professors in the department and all of that. Then going down, you can now talk about academics and then talk about those volunteering rules. But just like what the point I'm trying to make is that you don't go home with, oh, it must be this, it must be that. It all depends on. So if it is you are going for a master's or if you want to apply to some of these other scholarships, then you need to, before you apply for any scholarship, look at their objectives and see how you can tailor whatever you want to write to align with the objectives. So you don't just wake up and write whatever you want to write just because they have told you that you must write so you don't end up shooting yourself in the leg. Ibrahim Sahid.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. So that makes so much sense. Thank you so much, Stanley, for that addition. Say, Adeze, was it Adeze that spoke? Yeah. After Adeze, then Ibrahim Said can go. Adeze, please unmute your mic and speak.
We have to be fast so that we will end and do that practical thing we said we wanted to do around 6.
Yeah.
We don't have our last class.
So yes, Adeze, please open your mic up. Sahid, please.
Okay.
Yes, thank you
so
very much
much.
for the opportunity. I just want to ask, how does one stay consistent in their writing, like consistent with the flow when writing? Because one can start with the problem at the first line. How does one keep that flow throughout the whole of the essay that it like connects with everything? Like, I don't know if you are able to understand what I'm saying. And also, how do we balance the use of AI in writing in our writing Why not? Because most students actually say that we should not use AI because they don't want to detect AI because of authenticity and all of that. So how do we balance the use of AI to polish our writing and to enable us make it more better? That's my question.
Yeah, so to answer the question on consistency, right? That's why it's good to have like a template, right? Why a template is not a hard and fast rule, right? You can be flexible with your template, but that template kind of provides you with like a guideline. Okay, you've answered this part, right? This second paragraph is for this part, this third paragraph is for this part, right? So kind of gives you a holistic approach or a very tailored approach, right? Another thing is have multiple drafts. When you have a first draft, your first draft is not going to be perfect. Don't stop expecting your first draft to be perfect, right? Some people write their first draft and we already following a template, right? Your first draft should be the draft where you sit down, talk about, okay, what are the things I've done? You just point out your heart, your writing, right? Then that second draft, now, okay, you're not following this particular template. You're using this particular examples. Now follow that guideline as it should be. Do you understand? Then also have people that are going to help you proofread your essays, right? Because usually when is how the human mind works, psychology. If you read an essay multiple times, you might not be able to pinpoint even slight mistakes or see some things that are weird in the structure in the essay. But when you give it out to maybe say one or two people, they read it, they can now tell, okay, this is not this is what you're supposed to do. This is something that you missed, right? The structure is kind of weird here, right? But even when you're writing, that's why it's advisable to start writing early. You can sleep over an essay, close it, don't even review it for 2 days or even a week. Go back again, you find out that there's something that you notice because your mind is no longer instead of an essay, right? So now with the second thing on AI, quite frankly, is a very dicey thing, right? It's usually better to avoid AI in total, right? Or if you're using AI at all, it should be okay. You have your structure ready. You have an essay. You have a beautiful essay. Or you can just tell AI to correct the mistakes in this essay to help you structure it. But myself, I don't even buy you telling essay to help you structure it because if you tell essay to help you structure it, there are some words that will change and to still appear AI generated, right? So what you can do, you can use AI to brainstorm in the initial part, even before writing. Okay, brainstorm. I have this story. What do you think? Do you think it ties into this? You use AI to brainstorm, right? Then you now write your essay by yourself. Now tell AI, help me paragraph. You can even put an instruction, do not change the words of this essay, right? So it is still your writing, but you can tell it, okay, help me remove correct it grammatically. Help me paragraph it better. Yeah, help me structure it better, but don't change the words. You understand? But it still remains your own authentic voice, at least to a certain degree, right? Rather than telling essay to structure everything for you and write it. No matter what, as far as AI has done a bit of a work, there's still the potential for it to be AI generated a bit. So you have to be very careful when you're using AI. Use it either in the pre-writing stage to brainstorm on the points, or use it after you've written to help you correct errors and to structure the essay without changing words. Do you understand? So that's how yeah.
Yeah. In addition to that, when we go to one of those our AI classes, I think
Yes.
explains more on how you can write very well without how you can use AI to write. I think one of those classes teaches it, and we are still going to get into that class as we move on. So maybe on that day, I'll do more to explain to you guys more on that. But one thing about using AI is all about what you garbage in is what it gives you back. So if you just give it anyhow, if you just say it anyhow, it will give you anyhow. So it needs to be your word. You don't have to, it's not like AI should do the work for you. You should do the work. AI should now guide you, something like that. But if you give it to AI and AI does it for you, it means that you are a very lazy student. I always dictate AI because I told you guys I grade students a lot in in this school, and I found out that a lot of students do those things, so they want to maneuver the system. But whenever I see it, I don't even need an AI app to dictate that you used AI. I know because my students, I always interact with them in the class, and whenever I'm interacting with them, I hear their voice. So if your voice your voice in class is different from your voice in paper, I would know. Then I think talking about following structure, you know, you flow. What you say in your paragraph. Precious, can you stop showing this? Let me show them something based on what I was explaining the other time to answer your question. You see, this thing that I was showing you guys before about this statement of purpose, this statement of purpose is one of the best statement of purpose I have actually reviewed in the recent times. And because this person actually got the PhD program. So you see, this person talked about how she moved, and then she now talked about flooding, that it is as a result of flooding that she now want to study public administration and then research more on climate change, flood risk governance system, and how it protects communities. Now, the second paragraph, the person continues to now it's also flow that the research that she said that her masters provide a strong training on environmental assessment, data, and all of this risk analysis. So you see, the person is still mentioning those things in paragraph 1. Now going to paragraph 3, is talking about that before applying for this program, I did preliminary research on Virginia generally and particularly Institute of Norfolk. Person is now trying to state that this problem he talked about here in this paragraph 1, that she has seen it exist in that particular area where the school is located. So you see, it's still flowing. There was a problem in paragraph 1. Then paragraph 2 is what she has done in the past about those problems, how she has actually done something to solve some of those problems, or what she has done in the past that gives her the power to solve it. Then number 3 is how those problems that she discovered in chapter 1, that it is actually in the city where that school is located. Then going down, you're explaining more about how that problem is ravaging that community that school is located. So you see, it's flowing. Now down, you now explain how the school that you're going to provides an ideal environment to solve this problem. So you are still within this. You have not gone outside what you're talking about. Now, the paragraph 5 is now talking about the people that are the professors in that department that are doing research in those areas, that your research aligns with them. So if you come, you're going to join them in that research for these people to join together, because PhD is all about collaboration, partnering, to solve a problem. And there are people who are already in the department who are solving that problem. So you're coming to be like an assistant, because when you are given a PhD, you are given a position of a research assistant. And so you are going to work with this professor and this professor to solve that particular. So you're still talking about those problems. Then paragraph 6, you talk about the methodology, how you are going to solve those problems, how you have what it takes to solve those problems. You are still talking about, so you see, if you look at it here, say, I intend to employ a mixed method design. I will conduct survey research among residents in flood-prone neighborhoods. So you are still talking about flood. So when they see consistency, it is flood. You didn't start with flood in the initial stage, and then at some point you digress to economics. From there, you digress to public finance. So you see, when you do that, they will know that you don't know what you're talking about. So that's just it. So just make your SOP to flow, and you'll get to where you want. So I'm always showcasing you guys this is that this is one of the best things I've worked on recently, and this person got the PhD anyway. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so just to round off, I have shared the survey link, right? I've shared it on the chat box. I've also shared it on the WhatsApp group. I hope everybody here is on the WhatsApp group. Please take out time to fill up the survey link for you. Also, this is I'm going to display the assignment now. I've also shared the assignment to the class group, right? But just to make sure everybody understands the assignment, let me explain it, right? So yes, so this is the assignment. For the assignment, you have two major assignments. The statement of purpose, right? You're going to write a tailored statement of purpose to your first choice academic institution, right? The statement of purpose should be between 800 to 1,000 words. The deadline to submit this is on the 26th of July, right? So 26th of July, which is the coming week, right? The personal statement too, right? So focus on your personal hook, resilience, and the theme. I use the star anecdotes. It's between 500 to 800 words. And I'm going to use this to verify. And that's why I say everybody should submit as a Word document, right? So the same deadline. Now, the third one is very critical, right? You're supposed to do a peer-reviewed feedback, right? So pick two people in this class, right? Two people in this class, and you're going to review their statement of purpose and their personal statements before 26th of July, before you submit it. You're going to help them review it, give them feedback too. And when you're submitting, you're supposed to submit as a single document, right? And you label it your first name, your last name. You label it with 2 class 2 exercise, like as I've written here, right? In the body of the email you're sending, you're going to include the names of the 2 people that you helped review their essays. Do you understand? So I'm expecting that everybody's essays would have been done, let's say, by mid this week, and other people would have started reviewing your essay, and you will have reviewed 2 people's essays too, right? So it also helps you to get in touch with your classmates, help them review their essays, give them feedback, because you're going to include the names, right, of the team members that will review their essays. Is that clear? Does anybody have any question? Is that clear?
Yeah, I think it's clear. I think it will be also good to probably share.
I will share this with the class. I'm going to update include the names of 2 people. Right. So I'm going to share this assignment, this slide, the slide I'm going to share to the class group, and I hope everybody's on the class group.
Oh.
Yes, so that makes sense. So this brings us to the end of our class, right? Please, guys, make sure that you fill the post-class survey and also submit your assignments, because these assignments add up cumulatively to know who is going to graduate or not, who's going to graduate with flying colors or what. You understand? Do every part, every detail that is given to you. Make sure you complete the assignments.
All right, so thank you guys so much. Any other question, put it on the group chat. Precious is there to answer the question. I am there to, if I have time, I will look at them. Although as we are stopping this class now, I'm doing it something else. But then I think we still have that practical class we want to do for the research, I think by 6 p.m. It's for those, because the guy didn't have enough time to explain some certain things. So we decided to push that practical part to the end. So by 6 p.m., I'm going to leave this link open. I'm going to end this, and then by 6 or a few minutes past 6, I'm going to leave this link open for you guys to join and do the practical. For those that want to join, it's optional. We're not even taking attendance. We're not doing anything. It's just those who want to join and learn. Thank you guys, and have a lovely weekend. See you guys next week. If there is any other information, you will hear from the group chat.